Hello, this is Doug Pinkham with Pinkham & Associates. We are a dedicated family law firm practicing divorce and family law here in Orange County, but the forms that we're helping with and discussing are good statewide. So anywhere in California, this advice, this information will be able to be used to help fill out the forms anywhere in California. Okay, so some of you can see the video as well as the form. If you can't see the form, that's okay. We are talking about the declarations of disclosure. We're specifically talking about the declaration of disclosure form, the FL-140. FL-140. So if you can see the form up, or either way, pull up your example of the FL-140, and we will walk through it real quickly. It's a short form. It's a simple form. This form is used in conjunction with several forms to complete your declarations of disclosure. Okay, so let's start with this FL-140 at the top. Just like every single form, or virtually every form, is your information at the very top. So your name, then you're going to put your address and telephone number. And if you want to use a fax number, you can put a fax number in there. You can put your email address in on the next line. If you want to use your email address, you do not have to put in your email address. And then the next line, it says attorney for. And if you're representing yourself or you're filling out your own form, you're going to put your own name in there. The next line down says Superior Court of California, County of, and then you're going to write in or type in. That's an interesting point. Understand that you can write these forms. You can handwrite these forms. Just make sure that they're written neatly and legibly. And they can be written in blue or black ink. I recommend writing them out in black ink and signing in blue so that it's very easy to see that it's an original signature. Okay, so as I was saying, Superior Court of California, County of, put the name of the county that you're filing your forms in on that line. The next line down says street address. That's the street address of the court that you're filing in. If there are multiple local courts within a larger jurisdiction, such as Riverside or Los Angeles County, Sacramento County, something like that, where there's multiple courts, make sure you're putting in the address of the court in which you're actually filing your paperwork in. Okay, so then the mailing address, if it's different than the actual street address, some courts have that. It's like a P.O. box. City and state and zip code of the court that you're filing in, and then the branch name. You can get that branch name, if you Google it, you can get the branch name of the court where you're filing your paperwork in. For example, the Pomona Courthouse in Los Angeles County would be East. So let's move on. Okay, the next line is petitioner. The petitioner is the same petitioner as it is from the very outset. So whoever was the petitioner in the case, even if the case was filed 20 years ago, the petitioner is always the petitioner. The respondent is always the respondent. So write in the petitioner's name and then the respondent's name. Other parent or party, that would be in case, say, for example, the county is bringing an action against, say, a father, for example, for child support or something to that effect, then there could be an other parent. You will know because you'll be listed as the other parent, or the other parent would be listed as the other parent on that Department of Child Support Services paperwork. Then, if you are the petitioner, oh, and by the way, on that one, if it's just a regular divorce or legal separation, then there's not another parent, other parent. So, okay, so in the box where it's entitled Declaration of Disclosure, about a third of the way down the page, if you're the petitioner, you mark the petitioner's box. If you're the respondent, you mark the respondent's box. You're only going to mark one or the other. And if this is your preliminary declaration of disclosure, you're going to mark preliminary. If this is toward the end of a case and you've already done preliminary declarations of disclosure and now you're doing final declarations of disclosure, then you'll mark final. Generally speaking, you're probably working on your preliminary declaration of disclosure if you're watching my videos. Off to the right, you're going to put in the case number. This is your case number for your divorce or legal separation case. Then we're going to go down. So now you need to understand that this is a very important form. I have said this many times on many of these videos, and you're going to hear it again now. The declarations of disclosure are very important in the eyes of the state of California. State of California genuinely does not care how you cut up your property or your debts, assets. They don't care, so long as you disclose to one another exactly what those debts and assets and income and whatnot are. If you disclose them all correctly, they don't care if you give everything away. They just want to make sure that you know what you're giving away if you give something away. Okay, so we're going to move down to okay, let's see. We're going to move down to see where it says attached are the following. Box number 1 says a complete schedule of assets and debts, which is an FL 142. I have another video on the FL 142 that you are going to watch to complete your declarations of disclosure because that form is necessary. So that's what we're going to use. We're going to do an FL 142. You can also use an FL 160, which is a property declaration. I also have a video on the FL 160, but for the declarations of disclosure, listen to me, use the FL 142. And they also have other forms for community and quasi-community property and separate property forms. You don't need them for this. You don't need them for your declarations of disclosure, so don't worry about that. All right, number 2, you're going to mark box number 2 because you are going to complete and serve an income and expense declaration, FL 150. It is mandatory, so you're going to do that too. Now listen, several of these next boxes are not absolutely required to be marked and to be followed and disclosed in your preliminary declaration of disclosure. However, knowing already how important this is to the state of California, and in hopes of possibly not having to do final declarations of disclosure, I'm going to tell you, do your preliminary declarations completely. What does that mean? Okay, so in the state of California, to get divorced or to get a judgment for legal separation, you must do your declarations of disclosure. You must do a preliminary declaration of disclosure. You may waive if you both agree, or if a court grants a motion for you to waive your final declaration of disclosure. You can do that, and the court can do that, so long as you disclosed everything properly in your preliminary declarations of disclosure. So what does that mean? There's a couple things that aren't absolutely mandatory to be disclosed in your preliminary declaration of disclosure. But if you don't, you can't waive your final declaration of disclosure. So do them, and do them completely in your preliminary declaration of disclosure in hopes of being able to waive the final declaration of disclosure. All right, let's move on. Mark box number 3. All tax returns filed by the party in the last 2 years before the date that the party served the declaration of disclosure are going to be attached to this. So what's that mean? You're going to put together your last 2 years' tax returns, state and federal, and they're going to be attached to this when you serve it on the other party. So mark box number 3. Mark box number 4, 5, and 6. Those are not absolutely mandatory, but if you don't mark them now, you're going to have to do your final declarations of disclosure, which we're going to try to avoid. So mark them, and there's going to be another video explaining how to prepare a simple document to meet the 4, 5, and 6 on this form. Okay, it really is a pretty simple form. Let's move down a little bit more. Understand, you are saying that these forms are going to be attached to your entire Declaration of Disclosure packet, and you're signing this under penalty of perjury that that is true. So mark those boxes and do a full and complete Declaration of Disclosure, including the attachments, and you'll be safe dating this form next and signing this form. And you're going to write your name. Date it, write your name underneath the date, and sign off to the right. All right, folks, make sure that you watch all of the videos in this Declaration of Disclosure set of videos, because they're all absolutely important and mandatory, and they're going to help you get through this process. And sorry that this Declaration of Disclosure process is a little bit complicated, but it is the most important thing in the eyes of the state of California, as I said. So take it seriously, do it right, and you'll be covered. All right, again, this is Doug Pinkham. Thank you very much for watching my video. I hope it was helpful. Thank you.